Alright, so the goal of today is to do a what's in my bag. And you will see here that I am rocking the Think Tank Airport Security, the newest bag. I believe this is the version 3. And this thing holds a ton of stuff. So we're going to go through it and we're going to see what I pack with me for any given event. First things first is my little pack here that I keep in the front. And this holds all of my important stuff for my computer, as far as cords, chargers, hard drives, card readers, also a power bank. If I need to get a memory card onto my computer and save files or charge my computer, anything that has to do with my MacBook, it's going to be in here. I'll also keep a spare phone charger in here as well, but this should basically cover any needs that I'll have whenever it comes to the end of the night, taking my cards and transferring them over. And this little pouch is really handy because it keeps everything nice and organized. Got a 4 terabyte hard drive, obviously, and plug-ins for the wall outlets. This right here is going to be an XQD and an SD card reader. I've got some USB-C cords here that plug into the card reader as well as the hard drive. I've got a spare cord here as well. There's USB-A that will fit both of these, just in case for some reason we'd run into some computer issues and we have to use a different kind of computer that doesn't use USB-C. I've also got a little plug-in here that allows me to plug an Ethernet cable right into my computer, just in case I'm in a press room and there isn't access to Wi-Fi, but they do have hardwired internet, which you will actually find a lot more than you would think. I know that it was pretty common with shooting hockey as well as college football that your best connection was going to be plugging a hard wire in that they've got run to each little booth there for you. So you want to make sure that you've got something to be able to plug in Ethernet if your computer doesn't come with that plug already built in. Alright, next up in here, just a quick access. Keep a raincoat for myself, just because shot a football game earlier this year. It started downpouring. I didn't have anything to protect myself, just some stuff to protect my lenses, which consisted of hefty bags, and I got soaked and I didn't want to go through that again, so make sure to keep this nice and handy just in case. Alright, nothing more really on the outside of the bag here. We'll start getting into this pocket. This is where we're going to keep the laptop. It's a really nice compartment. Holds a 15-inch MacBook Pro just fine. We've also got a pen and a Sharpie in here. Some business cards. Never be too prepared. I was going to make sure you got a way to give people some identification for yourself. If maybe you'd like to buy a photo, something like that. You need to write down some information. Got everything you need right in there. So let's go ahead and let's get into the heart of this bag and see what all the gear is. Alright, now, probably looks pretty overwhelming. Probably thinking, holy cow, that's a lot of stuff. And it's really not as much stuff as you would think. Not necessarily the newest of the new or the cream of the crop, just stuff that gets the job done, some good glass, some decent bodies, and just the best that we can do. What we've got is always our plan. So this is what works for me right now, and this is what's within my budget, but definitely a good setup for me and a good setup for anyone that's looking to really get into some sports photography. This little air blower here, just kind of keep it on top. Make sure to blow all the dust off my lenses. I shoot a lot of dirt track stuff. Stuff gets really, really dusty. This thing is really nice because you don't want to smear that dust around on your lens. That's just going to scratch it. So blow it off first and then clean it however you need to. Alright, first up, I like to keep my bodies and lenses attached, at least the ones that I use the most. So this is going to be a full frame Nikon D600 with a 14 to 24 f2.8 lens on it. This is a really nice body. It gets a really good file on it. Handles the high ISO pretty well. Full frame is kind of the professional standard. It's going to be the size of your sensor, and it's, you know, it's cheap. You can pick these up for $500 or $600 all day. Not the lens. The lens is a couple thousand, but the body itself is nothing really that fancy. It's kind of an older model. They've got the 610 out. Not really a sports body or anything. It's just kind of a entry pro level body. Gets the job done for me though. I love it. And over here, I've got a crop sensor camera. So the sensor in this camera is going to be smaller than the full frame, obviously. And this gives me a little bit of extra reach. I can put the same lens on this body that I would put on the 600, and it would actually make it 1.5 times longer. So the 70 to 200 actually becomes more like a 105 to 300, which is really, really handy to have that extra reach, especially when you're shooting sports, because you can't really get right in up close on the action, so you need something to get you some extra reach. This D500 does shoot 10 frames per second, has a native ISO of 51,000, which is just insane. I'll never get it that high, but I do love this body. It's great. Just the 10 frames a second itself makes this body completely worth it. Always keep a grip attached. I try to keep grips on my main bodies just because they hold an extra battery, and that's really handy to have, especially when you're shooting all day. And when you're shooting vertical, you've got a second way to hold the camera. So you've got a shutter button here, focus button, you can adjust your shutter speed, your aperture, everything right here on the grip as well. Just gives you a lot better hold on it when you're going vertical. And extra battery is nice. The lens here is a 70 to 200, 2.8. It's from Nikon. It's the older version. They do have a new one out now. This is the VR2. They do have one newer version than this, but this thing gets the job done just fine for me. I've had it pretty much my whole career. Spent 1 year shooting with kit lenses, and then picked this thing up, and I've loved it ever since. Got a lot of scratches, a lot of wear on it, but still gets the job done, definitely. Below that, I keep my Black Rapid strap. Love Black Rapid straps. I feel like they're really safe and secure. I never worry about my camera going to be falling off or hitting the ground or anything like that with that strap. And then also, one thing I forgot to mention, under here, got a rain sleeve for the bag itself. So we just keep that right under the lens here, and that gives it a little bit of extra padding whenever you set it down in there. This is the first full frame camera I ever owned, and this thing has been through a million dirt tracks. It's been repaired a million times. I don't know how it's still going. Just kind of have it in here as a third camera now. I'll use it as a remote with a fisheye or something like that, but this camera is really great, and again, really cheap. You can pick these up for under $1,000, and this is 36 megapixels. The file on this camera is humongous. You would not believe the resolution this thing has. And there is a couple newer versions out of this. There's the 810 as well as the 850. This thing still gets the job done just fine for me. Next up, you'll see I carry 3 flashes with me, just in case something comes up where I am going to be using flash. I do have enough to do a real light setup with 3, and then in here I have a nifty 50, and then all of my triggers required to put these flashes off my camera, because I definitely like to get the flash off the camera to give a little bit more depth into your subject, add some shadow, things like that. Below that, got some pocket wizards here. Attach these to a camera, put the camera on a tripod or on a magic arm, throw it somewhere crazy, up high, wherever. You can remote fire the camera, so you don't have to stand there and take the picture. You can put it somewhere else, be down on the infield, down on the sidelines, taking another picture. Just gives you another angle. Not a camera you really depend on to make sure that you get the shot, but always nice to have a second angle. And these pocket wizards have a really long range on them. They're really reliable, so I use these to trigger just an extra view for everyone. Obviously, lens cloth. You'll find these tucked away everywhere within this bag. I keep a lot of lens cloths in here. You can't keep your stuff clean enough, I promise you that. This is my 300mm 2.8. This thing is almost as old as me. It probably weighs about half as much as me because I'm a pretty little guy. And this thing gives me some insane reach. When I put this on the D500, instead of this being a 300 2.8, all of a sudden now it's a 420 millimeter 2.8. So this thing just has insane reach, really crystal sharp. It doesn't zoom, it's just at 300 millimeters, so it just is stuck at being really, really, really far away. But I don't know what I would do without this lens. I don't know what I did before this lens. It's just absolutely insane what you can do with it, and the different angles you can get whenever you've got that much reach. And then over here I've got a fisheye, and this is, again, can just go on a remote camera, get you a really wide view. So you've got some fireworks going off, you want to get the full stadium or the full grandstand, something like that. Fisheye works great. And I just got it attached to these extension tubes just as a way to consolidate some space. And all extension tubes do is turn regular lenses into a macro lens so that you can get more close up to your subject. If you're taking pictures of bugs or really small things, you can get really close and magnify it and really show the detail on something that's really, really, really small. These things are cheap. They're about $10, $20, and they do something kind of unique. I don't use them much, but it's always nice to have them just in case you need them. Alright, and also got a flashlight, just in case I need to dig around in this thing and it's in the dark and I can't see. Always handy to have. A little card holder with some business cards in it. This is an easy way to get in here, tell people who I am, give them my number, my contact information. Also store my lens pin in here. This is just for the stubborn spots on the lens, maybe a piece of mud or something that got stuck. This will help you get it wiped away clean and it won't damage your lens, which is the key to that. And that's pretty much the main gear that I carry. I didn't say much about this 50 because I paid under $60 for this on Amazon. It's a Yongnuo. It's cheap. It's almost a throwaway lens, although I'm going to do the best I can not to ever have to throw it away. Just something to give me that little bit more light letting in. This is a 1.8, where the rest of these are 2.8. I mean, I have no complaints about this. This thing takes some really awesome pictures, and the price was unbeatable, so I'm glad I picked that up. Alright, now we'll go ahead and get into the lid. And in here, a ton of stuff. The lid's actually, it's pretty heavy too, really. And in this bottom compartment, it's got some charging stuff. Regular battery charger, dual battery charger, an extra brick just to plug in a dual battery charger. I got some extra body caps and lens caps in case we do happen to take one of the lenses off and need a cap to plug up the body or the lens, keep dust or anything from getting in there. I like to try to keep my lenses on. That's why I like this bag, because in the dusty environments that I work in, if I don't have to take the lens off, I don't have to worry about dust getting inside the camera as much. And that's always key, is trying to keep your gear as clean as you can. And in the environments I work in, that's really, really, really hard. But keeping it clean means it's going to last you a lot longer. So just always make sure to take care of your gear. And that's why you'll see a lot of these lens cloths laying around everywhere in this bag. I also got just a eyeglasses repair kit here. It's handy for me because I'm blind. I know you're thinking, he's a photographer and he's blind. Yep, unfortunately I am. And this is just a handy little multi-tool. Take this out when I fly. I'm always kind of worried that they're going to tell me I can't have this on the plane. Basically just changes out bits. Got a Phillips or a flathead, whatever. But handy little tool in case you need to fix something. Up here is pretty much just going to be all batteries. Got another charger up here, and this charges AA's, or it can charge my camera batteries. Kind of a universal charger. Just plugs right into the wall, or it takes USB. That's always really handy. I like to keep as much as I can USB chargeable, because you don't always know if you're going to be around a plug-in on a wall or anything. But you can carry power banks with you. And if you've got power banks and they charge via USB, you're good to go. And speaking of power banks, here's one I've got tucked in that little compartment as well. And I love these little plastic cases. These are to hold batteries, keep them from just flying around in your bag, not knowing which is which. And I have a system here. Basically, the ones you see with the atoms, those are charged batteries. The one you see with the blues, it's sad, it doesn't have any charge to it. So try to recycle those, not kill the environment too much. I like to use rechargeable batteries as much as I can, but some of these smaller batteries, they don't really make it rechargeable for. So at least I've got this to keep everything contained, a nice little system to tell what is charged and what isn't. And all my cameras are sitting in there. They've all got batteries in them, but keep a ton of spare batteries here in the lid as well. Just can never have enough batteries, especially with that D500. It goes through those things like hot knife through butter. It's nuts. This is kind of my cleaning pouch. Again, another dry microfiber cloth, and these are some wet lens wipes. Use these if it's getting really stubborn, you can't get something off. This is nice. And I also use these to wipe down the body and the outside of the lenses, just to get anything off after I've used the little rocket air here to blow the main parts of it off. But I want to make sure that I've got something to wipe any of the mud or anything that may be stuck to them. And then this pouch is going to be just some stuff that I know I'm going to be pulling out when I get there. Obviously earplugs. Working on race cars all the time. Kind of want to take care of your hearing. I'm going a little deaf from all the music and loud race cars, so started using these and it's helped a ton. I also have a spare card reader here that's just a USB-A. Just reads SD cards. It won't read my XQD cards, but a nice little backup just in case I need it. And then in here, just a ton of memory cards. That's an XQD card. That's a SD card. Just a ton of storage for these cameras. You never know how much storage you're going to need, how many pictures you're going to take, how long it's going to be until you're going to be able to clear those cards. So try to keep a lot of storage on me with those. And that's really about everything that I pack with me. It's really nice having this bag. It's got some wheels on it, so it's not killing my back. I'm sure you know this is really, really, really heavy. But yeah, this is everything I like to take with me. I don't always take all of this. Sometimes I'll swap some stuff in and out, but when you see me shooting the chili bowl, this is what I'll have with me. So I'd show you guys a little bit of my setup so give you a little better understanding. And as always, if you've got any questions, you want to get into photography, maybe you're into racing or some kind of sport and you're not able to actually play it yourself or drive yourself, but you want to be involved somehow, photography is a great way to do it. And I suggest everyone getting into photography. It kind of helps you document your own life in a little bit of a better way, so you can look back on those memories and actually have something decent to look at when you look back on them. Even if it's just with an iPhone, there's a few techniques you can learn to make things a little bit better. And again, any questions, just hit me up. I'm more than happy to help. And thanks for watching.